In our next learning check, we will divide fractions. We will divide one fraction by another fraction, as well as we will divide a fraction by a whole number. Okay, we will be dividing fractions, and the instructions say solve each and put each into smallest terms. That means simplify. It means you're going to have to do some cancellation if you can. Okay. Sometimes you can't, but let's see if we can in each of these. Okay. In the first one, we notice first we need to deal with the negatives. So we have two negatives. 1, 2. 2 is even. So we know that our final answer will be positive. So we're good with that. Now, how do we know what to do? This is what you always do. Let me write some instructions down. So the first fraction, he will stay the same. Some teachers say keep it, meaning keep it the same. The symbol, okay, the symbol, that will change. So we're going to say change this. What do we change it to? Well, multiplication, that means either the cross or the dot, either one. You notice in class I use both. Okay, now let's change colors here. All right. So this one over here, the last one, that's the one that if I could, right, that'd be great. Okay, this one we will flip. When we say flip, we mean use the reciprocal. So I'm saying flip in class also, but really what it is don't change the first fraction. Change the sign, the operation from division to multiplication, and then use the reciprocal for the second fraction. Okay, so let's write this down. I'm going to grab it. Let's grab something else to write with here, different color. Okay, this is what we're going to do. All right, so what we do is we know we're going to be positive here. Write that. Okay, we know that our final answer will be positive, and we know we need 2 over 27 to be the same. And we know that we're multiplying, and we use the reciprocal, 15 over 8. Now, what does this really become? This becomes 2 times 3 times 5. On the bottom. Well, I know 3 times 9 is 27. Okay, so I'm going to say, or 9 times 3. I'm doing this for a reason. Okay, notice that there's a 3 in both of them. Now, if you don't see that, go ahead and say 3. 3 times 3 times 3. Remember in class we had 3 to the third was 27. Okay, now that 8, we can go ahead and break up that 8 all the way. So that's 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, now what we do is we look for the numbers that are the same on the bottom and top, and we can cancel those, okay? And 8, yeah, we're good. Okay, so let's go to, let's mark them out. I have a 2 on top and a 2 on bottom. I can cancel those, okay? Then I have a 3 on top and a 3 on bottom. I can cancel those, okay? Remember, we discussed it in class why that happens. It's a cancellation law. So now, what do I really have left? Well, I have 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 2 is 4, and I have this 5 on top. So that will be 5, okay? And then 9 times 4, well, that's 5, and 4 times 9 is 36. So this would be your final answer for that one. Okay, now let's go to the next one. All right, remember, we're using, again, we will use same, change, and flip. Or you can say keep, change, flip. I don't care how you remember it, but that's what you do. Okay, but before we can even do that, we need to get rid or decide how to handle that negative. Okay, will our final answer be negative? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. Well, let's see here. Well, let's see. We have a negative and a positive 3, negative fraction, positive 3. Well, that's only one negative, and that is odd. So that means the final answer is negative. Now, the only reason we can do it that way, remember, is because we're dealing with division and multiplication. Okay. All right. Now, remember, we write down the first fraction exactly the same. Now we change the division to multiplication and we use the reciprocal. Wait a minute, we don't have a fraction to use a reciprocal. Well, all whole numbers can be a fraction as long as you put them over 1. So now we have 1 over 3. And there was something similar to this in class, okay? Now let's cancel out what we can. Well, I already see what we can cancel. I'm thinking the 3's. Let me go ahead and rewrite this, okay? So what are we really doing? We have negative, and we have 3 times 1, and then we have 2 times 5 times 3, okay? The 3's can be canceled out, okay? Let's go back to the same color. So what do we have? We have everything is negative. We only have a 1 left on top. That's this. And then we have to multiply 2 and 5 back together to make our 10. Well, now when I looked at what we started with, I said I already see what we can cancel. Well, it's really obvious if you look at what we've done over here on the right, go back to where we started, you can see that only the 3's can be canceled, okay? And that gives you, in the end, that will give you the 1 over 10 or negative 1/10. Okay. All right. I hope you can do this in class. Have a good night.